MiniTip Monday is all about simple ideas presented in quick videos. This week's video is all about clutch control. Clutch control is essentially being able to decide exactly where you put the clutch lever and the exact reaction that is going to cause in your bike. So this week's tip is a really simple skill to practice that translates all the way up the food chain, the bike skills chain, to your ability to use the clutch to make suspension move. So we're talking things like hill starts and preloads and changing ruts and so on. If you can do this one little skill really well, it'll translate all the way. Essentially today we're going to learn to rock the bike on the clutch, first using just the clutch and then using the clutch and the throttle together to make the bike move forwards and backwards really quickly. This skill can be practiced anywhere, from a nice flat car park or the traffic lights to on a gentle incline. The main point is you need the bike to not be able to move forward. So an incline is pretty helpful because it returns us to our original spot. But if you don't have an uphill, you can do the same thing by holding the front brake on. To start with, we're going to pay more attention to the clutch and exactly how it works. Great clutch control involves a lot of small, precise movements with a really good understanding of this. We need to know where the clutch lever is at the moment it engages, the moment it completely disengages, and how small the area between those 2 points is. To start with, we are simply going to feed the clutch out, feel the point at which it starts to engage, and all the way to the point where it stalls. And then you start to develop your understanding. Once you've got that feeling in hand, we can start to practice rocking the bike. To start with, I think a little bit of constant throttle is going to help. The process of rocking the bike starts with generating some forward motion. So we're going to feed the clutch out through that point of engagement until the bike starts to move forward, but not so far that the clutch comes all the way out and we're trying to drive away. Once you have a little bit of forward motion, you're going to disengage the clutch and let the bike come backwards to its original starting point. If you're doing this against the front brake, the effect is the same, but you're not moving forwards. The suspension will compress, or if you're doing it on a GS like we are, it will uncompress. Once you've got that and you kind of understand that process of feeding the clutch out a little bit and disengaging it, the idea is to start to repeat that cycle quicker and quicker so you get more and more of a rocking motion and your clutch movements get smaller and more precise. The whole point of doing this exercise is to improve your precision with that lever. So you don't want big movements. We don't want the clutch coming all the way into the handlebar and then feeding all the way back out. It creates a jerky motion. It's not smooth and is really imprecise. Small movements repeated quickly, quicker and quicker and quicker, mean you're getting better at this exercise. Once you're comfy doing it with the clutch and you're not stalling a lot, you've kind of got a nice rocking motion going, we're going to add the throttle into the mix. And the reason you want to learn to do this is because adding a bit of throttle in gives you a bit more pep. Ultimately, that's the skill set, the clutch and throttle together, that tie into more complicated skills. So the idea now is that we're going to roll the throttle on as you feed the clutch out. We're not looking for lots of revs. We're not looking to rev the bike really hard. We're not looking to create any wheel spin, just a nice forward motion and backward motion, forward and backward, rocking on the clutch and the throttle all the time. Once you've got that, ultimately, what you're looking to do is just learn to repeat that cycle quicker and quicker and quicker until you can make it super fast, forward and backward, forward and backward. That is when you start to develop really good clutch control because you're not moving the controls in too far, you're not revving the bike too hard, just everything's happening with the same pattern again and again and again. And that's it. It's a super simple skill, but it is something that I do all the time, a little bit like a nervous tick. I'm just practicing that constantly. When I pull up at the traffic lights, I do it against the front brake. If I'm sitting waiting for my one friend that takes forever to put their gloves on, I do it then as well. We've all got that one friend, so use that time to gain a little bit more skill. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have and you want to see more of these MiniTip Monday style videos, we release them earlier and more regularly on our Patreon page. Our Patreon also includes early release of every single video we make. So if that's something you're into and you want to keep up to date with more of this stuff, go and check that out. If you're already one of my Patreon subscribers, thank you very much for making these videos possible. It means a huge deal to me to be able to keep making them. And remember, life's better when you're riding.